I just wanted to believe in him so bad because I knew that he was like Tottenham through and through.
Still, but when I look back at it, I thought it was outrageous the fact that he didn't start Mora. But then again, some people would have said, well, why aren't you starting a world-class striker?
Rival teams or other teams that you're facing will begin to suss you out.
What's the point of just building this stadium? Knocking down the old White Hart Lane, which, by the way, that season became a fortress.
Yeah, I think Pochettino just kind of lost the dressing room after.
Were you ever Poch out in this period? Like, was there a time when you think, right, enough is enough? I think he really does need to get sacked. Okay, so George, heard you had a few issues with your Wi-Fi yesterday. Like, have you got that sorted?
Yeah, I've had a lot of issues with my Wi-Fi recently, but yeah, thankfully it's all good. It's all good for now. Yeah. I hope it stays that way.
Yeah, wait, who's it? You've got Virgin, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, we're in the mud here, boys.
Yeah, of course that's going to be so affected with your Wi-Fi. But anyway, I thought I'd get you onto this channel really for part of a part one. Because obviously we've just seen yesterday, all of Tottenham Twitter just essentially creaming their pants when they see Pochettino wearing the same black shirt that he wore at Ajax, and saying that in his lifetime before he dies, he wants to manage Tottenham one more time. Now, I'll get into a little bit later of where I thought about Poch this season, but it is nice to see those sort of messages because Poch did change our outlook as fans about our club. From dark, very cold times as a Tottenham fan, which I've pretty much been used to so much until that point happened, and then so attractive looking as a team, but unfortunately just never took the whole hog and won us a trophy, really, which is a very sad. It's very sad when you look back at it, but I can only be grateful for the hope that he has sort of put in us, because I've never seen such good morale from Tottenham fans throughout that period when he was manager.
Yeah, I was like, it is great to see what he did for us, because we just obviously weren't exactly one of the biggest teams in the country, and he turned us into regular Champions League contenders, and it was just mad to see that transition from finishing in Europa League, kind of bottom of the top half of the table. That makes any sense? To then just playing great football all the time. Everyone was looking at us as I guess you can call the new Dortmund, so to speak. An up-and-coming team, but there was just always these moments where we couldn't get over the line at that final hurdle. I think he would just make that one mistake, playing Son left wing back in the FA Cup. It's there always seemed to be that one little thing, or playing Vorm in goal instead of Lloris, just little mistakes here that just didn't put us on the edge as winners when we had plenty of opportunities to do that, which was annoying.
That really irritated me, because I hate it so much when someone from a rival's team just calls us bottlers, and it's just those sort of decisions that Pochettino was doing. I'd think to myself, what are you doing? All you got to do is just that one thing, and then it could be there for the grabbing. And then there was just always that setback on the day of where it mattered most. Just like what you mentioned with Son as a left wing back when we played against Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. Sticking Vorm in goal in the FA Cup semi-final. I was so livid when I saw the starting lineup. I'm like, what is that man doing? That's why I was angry at Norwich, because it was against Mourinho's team, Man United. Mourinho saw it for himself, what Vorm was like, and he did the same mistake as Pochettino. And that cost us, because the ball slipped out of his hands, and then Norwich equalised just like that.
Yeah.
And, the Champions League final as well. Okay, I'm a little bit undecided with it still, but when I look back at it, I thought it was outrageous the fact that he didn't start Mora. But then again, some people would have said, well, why aren't you starting a world-class striker, had it not been the other way round, I guess?
Well, see, the thing is, with that, I'm actually I don't it's not even me being on the fence. I genuinely think you had to play both of them, because for what Lucas did to get us through to that final, you had to start him. Without a doubt, you had to start him, because he was the in-form player for us in the competition. And then you can't deny that if Kane is fully fit, which by all means realistically he was, because he was in training for at least a month before that game. Bearing in mind we had no more than that, because we had 3 weeks after the season to prepare for the Champions League, and then I think he was already back a couple of weeks in training, at least not playing for the team but in training. So about
Yeah.
5 weeks in total. He was full training with the squad, and we're not going to know what happens at the training ground. Clearly, the management saw that he was fully fit and well enough to play. And if he's fully fit, you're not going to not start the best striker you have had in God knows how long, or one of the world's best strikers. You're not gonna drop him for that game because he's been working towards it. So you had to play both. And in my opinion, which is weird because he ended up being the best player for us on the day, he shouldn't have started Winks, because Winks was the same as Harry Kane. He'd been out for months. And you can't come back and all of a sudden play Winks and Kane and then drop Lucas. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's just, again, little mistakes here and there that just cost us massively.
You see, now this leads me to my next question. I know where you stand with Pochettino and how you reacted when he was sacked. In fact, with your permission, if it's okay to play your clip of when you woke up in Australia.
Go for it. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. If you haven't seen already, I'm in Australia, so I'm like 11 hours ahead, and that's why I look this bad. I've just woken up to see that we have sacked Pochettino, and this happened, I think like 3 hours ago, or like 3 hours ago. I'm actually just in shock right now. We have just, I can't even get my words out right.
I think I actually tweeted to you because what happened, like, I looked at it and I was like, holy shit. And then I saw Expressions tweeting. I saw Tottenham TV tweeting. Ben Borman tweeting. But then I noticed you didn't tweet. And that was when I realised you're probably asleep.
Yeah, it
so
was really...
tweeted, my thoughts go out to you when you wake up.
I saw that. I think it's because when the news broke out for you guys, or for everyone, I think it ended up being about 4 a.m. in Australia time. So I was fast asleep, and then I just woke up at like 7 a.m, 8 a.m. Just my phone was just ridiculous. Like the notifications, I thought it was a joke, and then I saw it actually happened, and I just went mental. I was like, I don't believe it. I was half asleep, and then that news just came out.
But this leads me to my question though, because you talk about how annoying it was that Pochettino didn't get things right on the important day. I know that you love him a lot. And you still do.
Yep.
But do you ever look back at him as a very frustrating manager as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't... I think any Spurs fan would be kind of stupid not to think that he was this almighty, like, I don't know, just never made a mistake. Because let's be honest, if that was true, we would have won the league, Champions League, about 6 FA Cups. Like, it is what it is. He's made mistakes. And it was... I think a lot of it came down to... for me at least anyway, like the lineups. Most mistakes ended up being the wrong player for the wrong game, which we've talked about loads already. So I think all it was is just the lack of experience for him. Because let's be honest, like he managed Southampton and Espanyol before us. That's not exactly a lot of great experience, but he clearly, when given the right players and the right team, managed to turn us into a great one. And I feel like he just needed that. Give him a few years' time, I think he'll be one of the greatest managers. Once he's built that experience now that he has with Spurs and stuff. Like, considering what he's already done at such a young age for a manager is very impressive. But no, he was frustrating at times. And I think, unfortunately, probably was his time at Spurs, given...
We'll get to that bit.
We'll get to that.
You kind of ruined it slightly, because I was hoping like it would be a build-up to it, but now it's nah.
Don't worry, we'll leave them with suspense. They're going to have to wait to see what we think about that.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. But that's the thing, like... Pochettino just is like... It's the trophies. Like, everyone these days now just judges you based on trophies.
Yeah.
I've seen your tweets before saying like, and honestly, I don't know how you got the bollock to tweet this sort of stuff. When you say it's not all about trophies, but essentially, no. But let me finish. Essentially, though, winning a trophy is marking a respect in your name, and it builds up a credibility of what you are, whether you're a footballer, you're a manager, you're a coaching staff. The list goes on. And of course for the fans as well, something to big themselves up in. But do you feel like there can be, in your neutral opinion, do you feel like no respect can be given to Poch until he's won a trophy? Because I'm just speaking up on what I've seen on Twitter and what other fans have said, that, because, he's linked with Newcastle as well. And he was saying like, oh, well, why would he go to Newcastle? Some are saying, others are saying like, watch how he's going to win some trophies and finally get something to his name. What do you think about all of that?
I think the respect thing, like, I don't think the trophies is needed for him to be respected as a manager, because he's quite clearly a great coach, which you might be able to see as two different things, because he's turned our team around. Without a doubt, I think he could make Newcastle a great team if they get the funds to get the players they want. And obviously, we know what he's like. He's turned us into a great side. He could easily turn Newcastle into a good one as well. And I feel like, for me, like, the trophy argument is more geared at when people talk about players and their accolades. And I kind of think that when you're talking about the best players or the best managers, you've got to take every circumstance as different. If you stick Messi in the Brighton team and he doesn't win a trophy, you're not going to say he's great. Like, trophies are for teams, not individuals. So for us, in Spurs in particular, we've always been that one player away or two players away from reaching something. And unfortunately, he did not get the backing that he needed to do that.
That's good that you spoke about that, actually, because I feel like we do need to talk about the board. I remember, actually, Pochettino was having a bit of a rant, because let's now talk about the build-up to his sacking now.
Yep.
So it was a press conference, I think, during an LD Cup period, or I can't remember when specifically, but Pochettino was like saying like, "Oh, you might as well call me a coach instead of a manager, whatever."
Oh, yeah.
I felt like there was finally some expression of frustration on Daniel Levy and the board. I feel like, do you know what? I feel like, had we signed Paulo Dybala, there may have been a potential chance we would have still had Pochettino.
I think so.
Yeah, because Dybala is a quality player. Maybe not on FIFA from my experience. In real life, like, he scored against us as well. And
I mean, he's been pretty on fire for Juve this year as well. So
yeah,
we know he's a great player.
I felt, you see, the build up to his sacking I felt like we'll explore two sides to it: Pochettino's side and the board side.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, I think the board got arrogant and didn't back him to the 100% need, and then it got to the chance where they were finally exposed when the players that we had from 2016-17 season, fantastic players which could have got us a title potentially, finally went out of date.
Yeah.
And then with just 3 or 4 signings in the transfer window to try and merge that into a team that's already going stale after a Champions League run that papered over the cracks in their actual Premier League form.
Yep, totally.
It kind of exposed Pochettino a bit, in the sense that he didn't really have a lot to work with. That's one side of it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really frustrating to see that. Like we were saying before, he's an incredible coach and incredible manager. And even, like, this is going back, like, Sir Alex Ferguson used to say as well, that you had to recycle teams every 4 years. He would change his team every 4 years, because at the end of the day, the players aren't going to stay at the top of their game for a long period of time, because one, it wears them out. You could see that our players were being worn out because we weren't playing that high pressing, attacking football we used to. And not only that, rival fans or just rival teams or other teams that you're facing will begin to suss you out. Teams knew how we would play. Teams know how Dele Alli likes to run back post behind the striker, and they just nullified it totally. So what we needed was a refresh, a constant refresh in the team to keep it, to keep our fast pace, to keep the high energy, to bring something new every year. And then clearly the past 5-6 years, however long it has been, we didn't win a trophy, so we needed something different. And like you were saying with Dybala, if we managed to bring him in, that's instantly sending signals to the other players like, oh, hold on, we're actually trying to do something here. We're trying to make a statement signing. We're trying to bring something different to the team. This could be something exciting. When you keep the exact same team for 5 years, they're naturally going to decline. As much as we love them, we can't live in nostalgia. They're naturally going to decline. We have to change it. And unfortunately, the board, like you said, I think were very arrogant in the fact that they think that, oh, we had a great one in the Champions League to replace the players. We've now given Mourinho a 30 million, I don't know the exact number, but a ridiculous amount a year contract. Like, so hold on, you're willing to spend all that money on a new manager. You're going to have to basically get rid of the whole team anyway, eventually, or at least change a lot of the players. Like, you're still going to have to spend this money. Why not do this earlier in the project with Poch, who we already knew was an insane coach? Why wait? Why wait until we've gone on a complete decline to then change that? Is what doesn't make any sense to me. I wonder what your thoughts on that. I mean, that's just, I've been holding on to that for months now. Like it's so frustrating as a Spurs fan.
So yeah, well, just pretty much what you said, George. The board just took them massive piss, and there was an opportunity there to like just build on what could be something spectacular. And the most painful thing as well is that there's another team in the Premier League that had that decision and they took it, and look where they are now. And
exactly,
Liverpool. So
you're right.
Just gets under my skin so much, like imagine if we even like took an initiative of what Liverpool decided to sign, do some proper research rather than, still live in the year 2002, trying to, wheel and deal, penny pinch some players. It's the problem with Daniel Levy is he's, in terms of if you're ever worried that your club's going to go into administration, he's the man to basically guarantee that will never happen to you. Great businessman. But
yeah, he's a great businessman.
Football-wise, he's just woeful. And what's the point of just building this stadium? Knocking down the old White Hart Lane, which, by the way, that season became a fortress.
Oh,
we were undefeated that season. You knock it down, you build a big stadium, but it's just all... It's all show and tell, but just no action. And I think Pochettino said that to, who was it? I think Jamie Redknapp, in an interview, like in the 2016-17 season, in Thoughts of the New Stadium, and said he doesn't want it to end up like you build a really nice house, but you just don't bother putting any furniture in there. And it's the same sort of scenario, really. And I'm just trying to understand how anyone in their right mind, because I can understand it's a difficult job, running a board and that, but just show a little bit of ambition. It's the same old as well with even January transfers. Liverpool signed this striker from, was it Salzburg, I think, and it wasn't even January.
Yeah,
they signed him in December.
They signed him in December, got it confirmed, and then he just arrived in January. Like, it was just they got the business done early. That's even earlier than early. That's like.
We can rant about it all day long about the boards, but I did say that there's two sides to it. There's the board, and then there's Pochettino during that moment of when it was all going wrong for us. And I feel like, Pochettino does have to take a huge fault for it as well, because there were just some subs that he made or some style and choices that he made that were just unforgivable. Like, any manager would have been sacked through. I mean, me and you were both there for Brighton. You remember that?
Oh, it was horrible.
Horrible. From witnessing a horrible injury directly behind the goal near Hugo Lloris.
Still got the screams in my nightmares. That was...
Oh my God, yeah. I'll tell you what, it was me, you, and also Dan, who's on my channel before, and I'm pretty sure after the game was over, as much as we were distraught about 3-0, we were still feeling physically sick about that injury we witnessed. Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anything like it that close. That was just horrible.
Horrible. And I think, did Sissoko start as a right back that game as well?
Yeah, he was starting right back because I don't know what happened. Aurea was out. Oh, I think he was suspended, wasn't he? I think he was No.
because of the red card against Southampton?
Might have been. I'm trying to think exactly. Either way, we basically had no right back, and then Sissoko had to play there, and
we made Brighton look like prime Barcelona.
Morpie looked like Messi is what happened in that game.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
I said in your vlog that
right beforehand.
I've seen him at Brentford and what he can do, and just because he can do that at Championship doesn't mean he can't do that at Premier League. And he completely outschooled our defence.
Yep, ended up scoring as well, I believe, or at least created that Lloris shot at the moment.
No, I think he did score a header or something.
I think he did. Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah.
And that was down to the out of form centre backs, Toby Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen, that didn't track back and mark him. You know, it's basic defending, and they didn't do that. And,
yeah, I think Pochettino just kind of lost the dressing room after. I think it all plays hand in hand, but with like the whole getting the transfers in, people wanting to leave. Like obviously the Danny Rose situation, he clearly wasn't happy. Aurea didn't seem to be happy. Apparently, he tried to push for a move late at the end of the summer. Like there seemed to be a lot of. We were built on togetherness. Pochettino built us on togetherness, and we felt far from it in that summer and leading into the league. And all well and good buying Ndombele and this, that, and the other, but I'm not being funny. We needed that signing a lot earlier. We got rid of Dembele in January. Our form went totally since then. We needed a central. Then we knew we needed fresh young players, and we ended up waiting until deadline day to get Sessegnon. When at the start of the window we were linked with him and tried to get him. Like, why not just get these deals over the line? And I think it all added into the tension of the dressing room, the tension with the manager. I think Pochettino then lost it a bit because he gave his everything for the final, for the Champions League run, and to then just be gone in 20 seconds in that final match. I think it really seriously killed morale in the team. The Eriksen situation, Vertonghen, Toby at the time.
Yeah, actually, I heard, I don't know how strictly true it is, it could be fake news, but I heard that after the Champions League final, Pochettino didn't go with the players on the plane.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
And he just went to do his own thing and was just like in his own zone until pre-season basically started. So again, maybe that's something to blame Poch on in terms of, yes, it's a horrible result, but no matter what happens, you're still going to be playing football.
Yeah.
Even if it feels like the be-all, end-all.
You still got to stick with the team. It was a very weird decision that he decided to do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And he just didn't handle things very well, and then it later bit him basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just to touch up on your point with Ndombele as well, which is really interesting because we actually signed him early in the window. I think.
Yeah, it was him and Jack Clark on the same day.
Yeah, but then it just went completely dead quiet until towards the end of the transfer window. I didn't know what that was about.
I genuinely thought it was a change in Spurs, and I was naive to think that. But the fact that we got
your hopes up, Georgie.
Yeah, I got my hopes up. The fact that we brought on Ndombele in, which obviously, I mean, he still is, but at the time was very sought after. Like, he did so well for Lyon last year. Man City wanted to buy him. We all know about Barca's interest now, but I'm pretty sure they were interested back then too.
Yeah.
And so we got this talent in. We actually spent quite a bit of money on him. Got him early in, got Jack Clark. Okay, we loaned him out after, but the fact that we were like, bringing this young winger that could maybe change it. We didn't know about his loaning out at the time. I thought, wow, we're actually getting things done early. We're trying to fix things right. And then, like you said, didn't do anything else until the end of the window. Anything else.
Ridiculous, really. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for the last part of this podcast, really. But I think I may have mentioned it actually at the start of the intro, but just to get a direct answer out of it, really, was there any period at this time, because I know things got toxic on Twitter, we even see things get toxic on an away end in Brighton in regards to Pochettino. Were you ever Poch out in this period? Was there a time when you think, right, enough is enough, I think he really does need to get sacked?
I don't think I ever really was. But until right before the sacking actually happened, because it's hard to explain. I never explicitly said I was or anything. I was always the one that tried to stay more positive than everyone. And some people were Poch out. Even some people in my family were Poch out for weeks before it even happened. Yeah. Which I was always nah, it's not his. And I still, to this day, I still believe it. It's not his fault. It's the players and the board.
Yeah.
For one, the player's not trying, two, the board not backing him in the first place. So I just wanted to believe in him so bad because I knew that he was Tottenham through and through. Yeah. But then realistically, by that point, by October or whatever, you can't sign players, you can't get rid of them. And our form was relegation form. It was horrendous. So, and that was throughout the whole year, bar the Champions League. So I think
you're right. January,
Fulham was our last. Yeah, Fulham was the last away game win, and then ever since then it was just horrendous. So I knew his time was coming. I just chose not to believe it because I always was in like this fairy tale dream that, oh, it will get better soon, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And as much as I was shocked to wake up to the news, at the same time I wasn't, because realistically something needed to be changed. Something needed to be changed, and the manager is by far the easiest thing to change at the club during the season. So I did think we needed that change. So I would say I was probably Poch out, but that was literally probably like
You were Poch out, but you just didn't want to say it.
yeah, but that was only like the week before it actually happened anyway. Like I had to get away from. That's why I went to Australia. I had to get away from everything. A lot of stuff happened. The football was part of that. And as you know, like vlogging when football isn't going well is not exactly the most. It's not great mentally. So yeah, I had to get away from everything, and I think it happened at the right time. Like it needed to be done. To be honest with you.
Say, for me, you know what? I'll just say it. I'll say it on your part 2 very quickly, which will be on your channel, and just going to end it there. But just very quickly, guys, me and George, along with 4 other YouTube content creators for football media and vlogging, are part of a new project called the Offsiders. Yeah, just hit the subscribe button. Like we're doing bits, and it's during lockdown as well. So I'd say I'm pretty happy with that. Are you?
Yeah, very happy. We're nearly I think it's like 1.4k subs or something in the first couple of weeks. All the videos are smashing it. The support has been crazy from in all our DMs and in the comments and all sorts. So definitely something worth checking out. And then once we're allowed out and to see each other, it will only get better. So definitely worth subscribing.